Nigeria records post-harvest losses and wastages annually in the agricultural sector due to limited processing and preservation capacity. This results in high food prices and food importation, with its attendant effects on the nation's foreign reserves. To enable Nigerians optimize the benefits from the country's vast agricultural products such as cassava, oil palm, rice, tomatoes, and others, the Bank of Industry has launched a 5 billion naira cottage agro-processing fund, the CAP Fund. Customers can access the fund to establish plants to process our various agro-produce into food products or intermediate raw materials for industries at a single-digit interest rate of 9% per annum. Bank of Industry, developing Nigeria's agro-processing industry through the CAP Fund.
As we always say at the Bank of Industry, for us to compete favorably in the global space, we must look inwards to create a conducive environment through innovative ways of developing our teeming youth in an entrepreneurial way. If you agree with me, the time is now, and it's on this note that I welcome you to this week's edition of BoI Impact. I am Hadiza, Olaosebikan. In line with BoI's developmental agenda to transform Nigeria's industrial sector, the Bank of Industry launched a nationwide entrepreneurship development training program that was specially designed to transform the country's comparative advantage to a competitive one. One of such training is the tomato processing training that was recently held in Kano State. The training program was free to all participants. Here are highlights of BoI tomato processing training that took place in Kano. Do enjoy it. At the inaugural program of the tomato processing training organized by the Bank of Industry in collaboration with Betmark Consultants, the acting managing director of the Bank of Industry, Mr. Wahid Olagunju, who was represented by the regional head South, Mr. Hassan Balarabe, in his opening remarks, gave reasons why the bank is embarking on tomato training program across the country.
The current production of fresh tomatoes in Nigeria for a year is about 1.8 million tons, but over 50% of these are lost due to poor storage system, poor transportation, and lack of processing facilities. Nigeria's tomato first market, that's estimated at about 1.5 billion US dollars by the Raw Material Research and Development Council, rely majorly on importation. This underscores the need for us to develop strategies for the development of tomato value chain in Nigeria. The production of tomatoes for industrial use is currently gaining momentum in Nigeria, especially for the manufacture of tomato juice, paste, ketchup, puree, and fodder. The nation has witnessed the bold steps that are being taken by some investors to establish new large tomato processing facilities, while processing plants that had hitherto closed down were recently taken over by new investors. This phenomenon has necessitated the need for the promotion of micro tomato processing clusters and small tomato processing facilities towards sustainable development of the tomato value chain in Nigeria. In its bid to fulfill the first stage of the program, the Bank of Industry, in collaboration with Betmark Production Company Limited, introduced the two-day tomato processing workshop with the objective of exposing Nigerians to the knowledge of the identified processing method for small-scale industries along the tomato value chain. Consequently, the bank has developed a structured financing program for small-scale processing operations. The framework comprises the following. First, two-day practical training on small-scale tomato processing. Second, three-day entrepreneurship training. Finally, financing of successful participants.
He added that participants at the training program who come up with successful business ideas and plans will be fully supported by the bank.
At the end of the training, participants that are certified to acquire tomato processing skill and subsequently participate successfully in the entrepreneurship capacity training program of the bank will be required to submit their loan applications along with their business plans. Bankable business propositions in respect of small-scale tomato processing will be funded in fulfillment of the third stage of the program. The funding will be in form of loans to cover the cost of equipment and working capital requirement of the proposed projects. The loan to each cluster or beneficiary will be administered at a single-digit interest rate of 9% per annum, with a tenure ranging between 3 to 5 years. Partner state governments and tomato zones will be requested to set aside locations and provide infrastructure that are required for ease of operation of small-scale tomato processing plants. Because of the labor-intensive nature of the activities along the tomato value chain, from primary production to processing, packaging, and marketing, this initiative has the potential to create more than 100,000 direct and indirect jobs in the immediate future. BoI and its development partners are working on off-take arrangements to guarantee markets, and for those that will be eventually financed by the bank. It is expected that this intervention and proposed framework will stem the high incidence of post-harvest losses, ensure all-year availability of tomato, and guarantee price stability.
The lead consultant, Mr. Duro Kute, in his introductory message highlighted the importance of having tomato processing plants close to the farm.
If you can process right on the farm, you just make your factory on the farm and start processing. No need to pay for transportation for tomato. The rate of spoilage also has gone down, if not completely eliminated. So that if everybody knows that you don't need to have big machinery before you start, that all you need is just your blender. And you can start with a sealing machine, with where you cook your food. Do you cook? Do you cook your food before you eat? And if you cook, you have processed, meaning that what you cook should not be eaten. That's what it means when you say don't eat processed food. Some say preservatives are not good in food. What type of preservative? The preservative that you can use in tomato, if there is need at all for you to use preservative, are safe one. Those that will be metabolized in the body and you excrete out, it doesn't stay in your body. Those are the type of preservative that you can use. All you need to do is operate within the acid medium. In food processing, you use that one to classify food so that you know how you will process it. Ladies and gentlemen, let's start with our man from the farm.
The first session was titled Understanding Tomatoes. It was conducted by a tomato farmer and processor, Ansar Galadanchi.
Tomato is a fruit considered as a vegetable that grows in temperate climate across the world, with greenhouses allowing its production throughout the year and in cooler areas. Tomato is used as a food originated in Mexico and spread throughout the world. Tomato is consumed in diverse ways, including raw, as an ingredient in many dishes, sauces, salads, and drinks. Seasonality of tomato. There is peak period, there is off-peak period. The peak period, that is when it's very available. That is between early November through December, sometimes to late January. At this period, a basket of tomato is sold at around 1,000 to 1,500 in Kano, depending upon the market one is buying it from. There are a lot of varieties of tomato. There are so many different types of tomatoes in the world. Some of the ones we use here in Nigeria are, there is the UC Royal, Roma Savannah, and UC82. And this UC82 and Royal, the same, only that the company. So this is the Royal, as you can see. This is the row 1, and there is the seed. This is the Roma Savannah. This is the row 1, this is the seed. These are very good tomato, which you can use to process. This is Roma, they call it Acre. From the farmers, I think they'll be able to understand what I mean. This is the raw one, this is the seed. Then the UC, as you can see, it's very rich, red, and very good also.
A successful businessman and a professional in entrepreneurship development, Mr. Jamilu Abdul Salam gave the participants tips on entrepreneurship and startup management.
Today, Bank of Industry are given 5 million naira, even though it's a loan, but you have to apply through a competition by writing a business plan. I won myself 5 million naira there again. Why? Because I know how to write a business plan. So ladies and gentlemen, just know how to write a business plan and you make some millions. Let's start with what. The question what stands for what is the business idea? What is your business plan? Okay, I want to go into processing of tomato. No, I want to go into farming of tomato. I want to go into packaging of tomato. You need to decide what is your business idea. And remember, whatever business idea you choose, it has to be profitable business idea. We're going to come to that. Then, if you choose, for example, to go into farming of tomato, the next question you ask yourself is, what are the resources required to go into tomato farming? You need to ask yourself that. So now, when we're talking about resources, we look at resources in 2 angles. We talk about the human resources, and we talk about the financial resources. Am I correct? Who are the businessmen here? Human resources and the financial resources. Now, the human resources, it starts from you as a person. How good are you with that tomato farming? Do you know how to farm? What expertise do you have in farming tomato? The question is, what makes you an entrepreneur is, even if you don't know how to farm tomato, then how good are you in identifying someone that you can work together with to farm the tomato? Can you see the logic? This is human resources. The second is financial resources. If I'm going into tomato farming, how much do I need to go into tomato farming? Now, what amount of money do I hold to go into tomato farming? Would it be enough or not? Then, what are the risks? Ladies and gentlemen, we need to know the risk involved in any business before we go into it. You need to know. There is no business that always starts like that. You need to identify, okay, after farming, these and these and these will buy my product. To some extent, you even need to go and talk to them.
That was the initial interaction between the management of the Bank of Industry and the trainers who are renowned professionals in entrepreneurship development and food processing. The next segment will take us through the practical sessions of the training program, where the participants were given first-hand practical experience on how to start a small tomato and pepper processing plant. See you on the other side.
So, the way we do it, to get tomato juice, we need a special machine. That's the one that we call pulper. And now, the pulper is not here, but we use the tomato paste, or tomato paste, to preserve it. So you see, we are not adding any chemical, and it will stay for 1 year. What we are trying to do is to let you know that you can do this thing at your kitchen level. that is not as difficult as we thought. So the first thing is to wash the tomato. After washing, then the other processes will start. We have not done any magic. It's cutting the tomato, onion, and pepper together. You can see? And the seed, that's the way you eat it at home. So we are only showing you what you eat at home. It's as simple as that. So no magic has been done. This will now be, we'll grind this one, then we boil it. When it starts boiling, you take it from fire. Then you fill it into pouch. After filling to the pouch, you seal it hot. After sealing, then you now boil again in boiling water for 35 minutes. It's now boiling, so we can put off the light or the heat and then fill it into pouches. After filling, we seal. So this Then what will now happen is, we now wait until the water starts boiling again, because you know, when water is boiling and you start putting something colder than the water, the temperature will go down, and then you allow it to come up, then you take the time.
After the training, the participants applauded the Bank of Industry and the facilitators on the initiative.
These kind of programs, I think it will go a long way in motivating the concerned youths in whatever aspect in the socio-economic development of our society. I hope and I wish these kind of programs will continue, not even Bank of Industry, but other financial institutions.
We are very grateful, we are happy for having this very minimal and very important workshop. It's just in 2 days, but it's like a 2 or 10 years. All the members are very friendly, our instructors are very friendly, and even the companies that BoI and Spectra members, so we don't have anything to say there. Thank you very much, and we have to go ahead and ahead and ahead so that you will call other people next time. So and by the grace of God, we are going to use what we learned here. Inshallah, it is going to be into practice by the grace of God.
We had 210 participants who are trained on tomato processing and packaging. And at the end, we divided them to 3 sessions of 2 days each. At the end of each session, they were formed into cooperatives. In all, we now have 15 cooperatives to process tomato in Kano State. And now the first thing will be for the formed cooperatives to get the cooperative registered in the Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Cooperatives in Kano. Once they have the certificate, the next step is to meet with the BDSPs registered by BoI so that they can prepare their bankable feasibility studies. Because what we have taught them, one, is how to produce tomato in a small scale to the extent that they can make it in their own kitchen. So they now have confidence that they can process tomato and they can package it. If they have the milling machine, they have the sealing machine, and they have the pouches with which to package the tomato. The equipment that can do this thing commercially, we are getting them from India, which is adequate for us to start and to be commercially viable. Because if we do something and it's not commercially viable, it doesn't worth it. But to be commercially viable, they need to be in cooperative because it's a little bit expensive to purchase the machines needed to produce commercially. And before we even started, we had started receiving orders. A company has placed order for 7,000 tons per month of tomato juice, which means the market is big for everybody to play a part. You know, in Kano, they operate mainly the dry season farming. With this one, they will produce all the year round, meaning that more people will go into the production. And again, in the employment generation in the factory, you know, at least we'll be having nothing less than 25 people employed in for each cooperative to work with the members. And again, in the distribution system, a lot of people will also be engaged. BoI has added another feather to the way they disburse and finance in engaging mentors to stay with these people and to make sure that they know what they are doing and they do it right, they meet the quality, and they produce profitably. And then this has not happened in other financial institutions. And with this one, there is no way these people will fail.
Now that was so encouraging. I'm sure you heard from some of the participants their impressions about the training, as well as how they are now prepared to take the bold step of becoming entrepreneurs in food processing such as tomato. Why don't you follow us on the series as we continue to showcase various aspects of the Bank of Industry's developmental strides in transforming Nigeria's industrial sector? It's on this note that we draw the curtains on this week's edition of the program. It's good evening and have yourself an enterprising week. I am Hadiza Olaosebikan. Bye for now.